Hello everyone, welcome back to this Star Wars fans beginner guide to Disney Infinity. I'm hoping to help folks who might be interested in picking up Disney Infinity 3.0 because of the Star Wars content, being Star Wars fans, make some wise decisions about the game and get a sense of whether this game is something that is really for them. So I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler, and this time we look at the components of Disney Infinity. What actually is there out there physically that you need in order to play this game? So the first thing you're going to need, of course, is the game itself. So it might be a game, like if it's PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, whatever, might be a game that's on a disc, right, with your instruction booklet there. It might be a portable version, and the portable versions tend to have game cards. But bear in mind, again, that if you're looking for 3.0, there won't be a Vita or 3DS version of that. 3DS only got 1.0. It was that weird Toy Box Challenge version of the game. And Vita only got 2.0. So you probably won't be hunting those down. But if you are for previous content, know that those, of course, are game cards. These are not digital download games for the most part because you need to buy a starter set to get all the physical goodies in order to be able to play the game. You will be able to reuse some previous parts if you have an older version of the game, but we'll talk about that in our compatibility episode. Now, in your starter pack, whatever version it is, you're going to get your Disney Infinity base. This is what you're going to put your figures and your little power coins and whatnot on, your playset pieces in order to play the game. Again, the standard one has 2 circular pads and 1 hexagon pad. Whereas your one for the portable 3DS or Vita versions, if you're getting those previous versions of the game, will have just the 2 pads because they don't need a second circular pad. There is no local co-op on those systems. For the most part, though, you're going to be getting one with the 3 pads on it. Now, your starter packs are going to come with figures. We'll talk a little bit more about starter pack options in a little bit, but these are your figures here. This is Captain Jack Sparrow, for instance, from Pirates of the Caribbean. They are not posable at all, and they're nice looking, cartoonish in their style, but nice looking figures. They have a base. It's going to have some information on the bottom there for you. In this case, just Disney, model number, whatever. In the case of the Marvel ones, it's got that 2.0 on the bottom. Presumably the Star Wars ones will say 3.0 on the bottom. But these are the figures that you will sit on that base to sort of beam them into the game. In order to play as a Disney Infinity figure in all but the digital-only versions for PC, Android, and iOS, where you buy the figures in-game or unlock them with the web code, to be able to play them on any of the other platforms, you have that physical base, and you sit the figure on the base. If you remove the figure, you stop playing. It's like a ghostly image left behind of where the figure was, and it says to put a figure on the base. Now, the cool thing is that means you can switch out on the fly. I can take off Spider-Man and stick on Iron Man and immediately switch between characters in the game. But if the character, the figure, isn't on the base, you don't play. Now, if you're going to play in playset mode, the one with set universes, set storylines, campaign modes, and the like, you need playset pieces. There are these sort of clear, sculpted little pieces with hexagon bases that go on that hexagon part of the Infinity base. In this case, it's Avengers Tower here that'll let you into the Avengers playset, or the one I've shown you before there from the 1.0 starter set that has Monsters University, Incredibles, and Pirates of the Caribbean all unlocked by the same playset piece. But again, the playset piece has to stay on the base. If it's removed, you are kicked out of the playset. You must keep it on the base. If you are in the toy box, which we described before sort of as the free-for-all mode, you can play toy box games. Playing toy box games requires a toy box game piece. Notice it is a hexagon. There's only 1 hexagon pad. This would sit on there in place of a playset piece in the toy box. Bear in mind, though, you can stick a playset piece on it while it's in the toy box and unlock some other things in your toy box to be able to use to create your own worlds and such, but you're not playing as the playset mode or anything like that in the toy box. It's just kind of adding some goodies to the toy box options. If you are looking for toy box games, the Marvel ones, you have Assault on Asgard, and you have Escape from the Kiln. There's also one based on Brave, and there's also one based on Lilo and Stitch. Now, there are also what are known as power coins of different types. If you're in the toy box and you're trying to customize things in there, you will often find pairs of these coins. And in this case, these are Spider-Man coins. You stick these on the hexagon part briefly, and it will change either the sky or the terrain into a themed sky or terrain based on Spider-Man. There's ones for Incredible Hulk, there's ones for dinosaurs, there's ones for Frozen. In 3.0, there'll be ones in the first pack of power discs to change the sky and terrain into looking like Felucia, for instance. You have other power coins like vehicles, like in this case a Hydra motorcycle. You have power coins. They give you access to team-up characters who hop in and fight alongside you once they power up. You can do this with Mace Windu, actually, from one of the first power coins of 3.0. In this case, it's Ant-Man. You can have alternate costumes. Like in this case, that's Ultimate Falcon, right? So Falcon changed to look like his ultimate counterpart. Or the black suit, Spider-Man suit. You'll notice that some of the power coins have a clear outside, some have a solid outside. That denotes essentially common or rare. And you have other power coins, ones that give you special weapons, like smacking somebody with the cane from the movie, I believe it's Up, or the ability to glide with Doctor Strange's cape. Just depends on what the power coin is. Bear in mind that the ones that are hexagons can only be used in the toy box, right? Because you have to keep the hexagon playset piece sitting on the base to be able to play in the playset. You can't take it off and stick one of those others on. So something like Spider-Man's motorcycle, you can't play in the playset. You got to use it in toy box. Whereas ones like the circular ones here, you sit them on the base up to 2 at a time, stacked, and you can stack your figure on top of it. It's able to read the figure and the 2 power coins underneath, so you can have each character, each player, use 2 power coins at any given time, anytime you want to swap them onto the game piece. The bad news with the power coins is that until 3.0, getting them has been somewhat random. You would go buy one of these, a power disc pack, and it would have 2 power discs in it that are completely and utterly random. Okay? You spend $5 for one of these, or 3 or 2 depending on the sale you found, but retail, $5 for one of these, get 2 coins, having no idea if the ones that you're getting are ones that you actually need. Real pain in the ass for Disney Infinity 1.0 and 2.0. Just by way of example here, take the Marvel Power Coins as opposed to Disney Originals for characters like Maleficent, Tinkerbell, and so forth, or the Big Hero 6 characters. Take just the Marvel characters and their Power Coins from their little random packs from Disney Infinity 2.0. Eventually, this is an album, there were 42 of them. This is a full set of the 38 from the initial Wave 1 stuff, plus the 2 toy box game discs sitting there. And then there were 2 others that were eventually put out as an exclusive pack at GameStop. Ultimate Falcon and Captain Marvel as a Marvel team-up. Thankfully, in that case, you could buy a pack with just those in it. And apparently, people were so annoyed by the randomness and liked the fact that you could buy specific coins sometimes that they finally said, we're doing away with this. Okay, so for 3.0, there will be power discs of the different types. But what you'll do is you'll buy a box set of 4 of them at a time. Okay? And you'll get specifically the same 4 each time, kind of like an LCG where you know exactly what's in the package. There, for Star Wars, is a Twilight of the Republic set with 4. And there's going to be a Rise Against the Empire set with 4, and presumably a The Force Awakens set with 4, where you always know exactly what you're getting. The good news is you know what you're getting. The downside is it costs a little bit more. It costs about $10 instead. But the downside is that there don't appear to be as many of them, so your options are a little limited. Again, so far they've only announced 8 power discs for the Star Wars characters for 3.0, whereas just in Wave 1, there were 38 regular power discs, plus the 2 toy box game discs that you could put together in that album for the Marvel stuff back in 2.0. So, more limited options. The randomness, though, is gone. Thank God, collecting this has stopped being quite so much of a chore. Now, as for how you purchase these things, for individual figures, you're generally just going to pick them up individually for about $15. You can find them on sale someplace, but $15 is the approximate retail price. For 1.0, there are these white packages. It'll always tell you what it's compatible with. For instance, There is no playset for Frozen, so Elsa here, this is my wife's, the one that's not open here, mine's open. It's got the little symbol there, that's the toy box. She has no playset. She can only play in the toy box. They let you know that there, and it tells you on the back, works with toy box. For 2.0, similar packaging. This is my wife's Rocket Raccoon. Again, mine's open. Tells you the edition up at the top. For 3.0, it'll say 3.0 up there. It'll have a little symbol telling you what they can play in. And flip it over to the back up in the corner. Information on compatibility. In this case, Rocket Raccoon plays natively in Guardians of the Galaxy. Can be unlocked as a crossover character in the Avengers playset. And can play in Toy Box 2.0. You can't really see it there, but Toy Box 2.0 as opposed to 1.0. In other words, the Toy Box mode in the 2.0 game, not the Toy Box mode in 1.0, if that wasn't clear, though probably was. Now, if you want to get a new playset piece to play in a new universe, a new set of story missions, a new campaign, you're going to need to buy a new playset piece, but they don't come separately. For instance, when you buy the Spider-Man playset piece, it comes with the figure of Spider-Man and the figure of Nova. Playset pieces pretty much always come in a pack with 2 figures and the playset piece. So you can start playing as 2 different characters, more obvious to the set, without having to pick up other figures and still have options of swapping them out. Guardians of the Galaxy, for instance, came with Gamora and Star-Lord. Or the Avengers set comes with Iron Man and Black Widow. Lone Ranger, it's Lone Ranger and Tonto, and so on and so on. Those playset packs will tend to run you about $40. They're this shape, kind of that wider shape. They do tell you on the back what's compatible with what, along with the characters and whatnot. But look for these wide packages if you're looking for a new playset. But be careful. There are others of this same shape that have 2 figures in it that are called toy box packs. Characters that don't have playsets, so instead it's 2 figures plus usually a couple of power discs that maybe change the terrain in the sky in the toy box for you without actually giving you a new playset with any new actual missions. You can buy, for instance, Elsa and Anna from Frozen as a toy box set. You get the 2 figures that you could also buy individually, but a couple of power discs that change the terrain in the sky to look like Frozen. Same thing if you bought Aladdin and Jasmine as a set. You would have power discs that make things look like the Aladdin universe. But it's not a playset, it's not new missions, it's just toy box discs. So be sure, if you're looking for a new playset, that there is a clear plastic piece like this in it, that it says it's a playset pack. Otherwise, you're just getting 2 figures and some power discs for a little bit higher price than individually. Finally, let's talk about starter sets and how you're purchasing those. In general, they have tended to make multiple versions of starter sets available since 2.0. Back in 1.0, it was a simple starter set no matter which set you were buying for Wii U, PlayStation 3, regular Wii, Xbox 360, whatever. Starting with 2.0, you started to have more options, to the point where it got a little bit confusing for some people. There was a starter set called the Toy Box Starter Set that included Merida from Brave, Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, a couple of game discs, right, Toy Box game discs, based on those characters and scenarios to a degree, and then the game and the pad. But at the same time, they were really hyping it up as the Marvel version of Disney Infinity, and you got multiple different versions, different levels of starter sets for Marvel stuff. The base set is this one for that. Kind of a standard size here. And in that base set, you would get the game, the Infinity base, in this case a fold-out poster that showed you what some of the different products were that were available, the 2 Toy Box game discs, which were available actually as a package where you could buy these 2 separately themselves, and some stuff for the Avengers. You had the Avengers playset piece, right, with Avengers Tower, of course, there on it. You had Iron Man. You got Black Widow. And you got Thor. Now, some people may have already owned version 1.0. Like maybe they're buying it for the Xbox 360. They already had a base. They already had the 1.0 game. They would then perhaps buy just the 2.0 game disc, which was available in the US. For 3.0, you'll be able to buy it separately just as a digital download if you want to. But I'm not sure that really it's viable price-wise, about $30. Those people might be saying, though, well, I can buy the game because I want to use those new scenarios, like the Avengers scenario. That'd be cool and all. But I don't want to buy that base unit again. So what could I do? Well, you could also separately, if you wanted to, buy an Avengers playset pack, which was just Avengers Tower, right? The playset piece, and Black Widow, and Iron Man. And if you wanted Thor, you could buy Thor separately. So they do tend to make sure that whatever comes in the starter set, at least starting with 2.0, you can buy separately, as we will see when we talk about the Star Wars products in a separate video. And of course, if you were playing the digital version of the game, the starter set came with a little web code card that's got a code on the back that lets you unlock the same products in there. But there was a bigger starter set also available. That's this one. It's actually the one that I bought. That other one was inside here along with some extra goodies and such. Okay, so slightly bigger box. More stuff listed here on the side that's in it. That one gave you everything you got in that other starter set, plus 2 power disc packs, so 4 random power discs. Plus, it gave you Captain America, and it gave you Hawkeye. And with them, of course, web code cards in case you want to play the digital-only version also. But there was an even bigger set, which I didn't buy, that came with a Frost Giant-shaped base that has no relevance to the game. You just stick the figures on it as a display, at least a few of the figures. Not all of the Avengers ones will fit on there. But a base that also came with the Hulk. And, of course, a web code card for the Hulk. Now, if you wanted to just buy the regular starter set, you could buy Captain America, Hawkeye, and Hulk completely separately. There's a lot of buying options, a lot of flexibility in purchasing parts for this game, which is both very cool and very flexible, but at the same time often confusing, which is why we're going to take a look at the Star Wars products that will be available at launch one by one to make sure that it all makes sense here in a future video. Suffice to say, though, there are many options for getting into playing Disney Infinity, but you're going to definitely need figures and a base and the game if you're going to be playing the physical game. You're going to need playset pieces to play in any of the specific universes you want to play in, and as you go along, you'll probably want to play with some of those toy box game discs and perhaps some of the new options that are made available vehicle-wise and power-wise and look-wise by power discs, either hexagon power discs for toy box or circular ones for that or playset mode as you go along in your gameplay. Right now, it's a little bit easy to find the individual figures that you're looking for. Most places, you can still find many of the ones from 2.0 and most of the ones from 1.0. The toughest thing for 2.0 and 1.0 is finding the power discs that you want because they come in those blind, random packs. Thankfully, that has been changed for 3.0, but we're seeing more exclusive figures, which we'll talk about very soon. With that, hopefully the pieces make sense now. Let's take a look in our next video at compatibility. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the Disney Infinity players.